Most of the mods in there are vegan.
No,
Most of the
fun.
mods in there are vegan.
James,
what's up, man?
I have some questions for you. Please.
Nobody wants to answer your questions, bro.
Man,
Please.
the people with the unhealthy diets are criticizing people for, being unhealthy.
Exactly.
An unhealthy diet. I don't have an unhealthy diet.
Oh, GNS3. I love that. It's amazing stuff.
I intermittent
Yeah.
fast.
Quandale, then go prestige vibes. Come on, man. Let's get it, man. Come on, man. Alright.
But
I'm on a water keto diet.
Yo, Funhouse.
yes, what's up, Mandy?
I have this back plane on a Dell PowerEdge T610.
Okay.
It's a SAS back plane. It has a custom power connector to the custom ass Dell powered power supply.
Alright.
It connects data using a RAID card with 2 mini SAS ports.
Okay.
I'm assuming I can just take a regular old SAS HBA, get a newer version that doesn't have a fucking 2 terabyte per drive hard cap, and I'll be able to. What's that?
It should be okay with some asterisks on there. It
Okay.
depends on whether or not your backplane is active or passive.
How would I figure out if it's active?
Look on the data sheet for your server.
Wasn't able to find anything about that. I know there's a very separate physical RAID card.
I know, but that doesn't mean it's not active.
Would there be any extra chips? If it would be
Yeah,
active?
There would be chips on there, yep.
I sent you the eBay link to that specific RAID, to that specific backplane.
Alright.
I don't think it's active. It sure looks passive to me.
If it's passive, it should be okay.
Ah, okay, good. Well then, gotta drop some like 200 bucks on an HBA now.
30?
No, they're like 80 bucks. There's like some dude selling them here in Kijiji.
Man, 2 terabytes is plenty capacity.
Not if you have a 4 terabyte drive that you already bought. You should have told me that before I fucking spent money on my fucking hard drives. Now what am I gonna do with them?
I didn't tell you to buy a Dell server.
Hey, that 2 terabyte ban, isn't that like a limit on also old, just regular old SAS HBAs?
Yeah.
Any old one have that limit. That's not a Dell thing. That's like an old thing. And you would tell me to buy an older used server, right?
That's not what I would have told you to do at all. Look at this bullshit. That is just absolute Jewish tricks.
True. Wait, you would have told me if I would say, hey, Funhouse, I want a server with some 24 cores. After we go into a whole conversation of how it's so stupid that I want that many cores, you would tell me, yeah, buy the new Intel Nickel version of their garbage naming scheme of their new Xeon processors. Or you would tell me, hey man, how about you buy some 10-year-old shit which is still in perfect condition?
I wouldn't tell you to do that. I'd tell you to go buy a regular ass Intel processor. Like a current gen one.
Interesting.
Yeah, man.
Well, allegedly, when I was talking to the technical support in Bell after getting passed around between like 5 different agents, they don't actually block outgoing ports. They even have a guide on how to set up your own mail server. Like what?
Okay.
And how to like forward ports with their like custom. They have like this Home Hub 4000. It's like some bullshit like router they offer. They have like a guide on how to forward traffic, incoming and outgoing traffic from your mail server.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
Well, that's good at least. Okay, hold on. We're just gonna welcome Supreme Leader Kim. As we said earlier, I'm just getting around to that
Shalom. Yeah, what's up?
system. Oh, not much, man. I'm just getting up to that. Setting up that super based system right here. So.
Is that solar putty?
Is this solar putty? This is solar putty.
Hmm.
Not anymore. This is my bot.
I know. KGB.
Yeah.
Am I crazy? I want to learn Rust just because it sounds like a cool thing to learn.
All right.
There's like this dude on YouTube that makes videos about Rust, and I just want to learn it now.
Oh,
Well then,
and why is that?
I have no clue.
What is that bot for?
It actually is like cyberstalks people. So if you notice, it's a whole bunch of different what you call it, Discord servers right there, and anytime anyone posts anything, it downloads it.
Nice.
Right. It also logs everything they say. So
Epic. Actually epic.
yeah, and it doesn't like here's politics, rhetoric, whorehouse everywhere. Right.
Nice. Yeah, this is... Yeah.
All these are like I have it in all like 100 of the most like busy Discord servers right there.
Mm-hmm.
So it knows.
Damn. What can you do with all this data? You can sell it or... I don't know.
Yeah. We'll figure something out to do with it right there. Okay, interface.
Actually, that's kind of cool. Like, I don't know, like in 10 years, you can be like, what was the political
Whoa,
discourse? You know?
Funhouse, you didn't do Control N to get to the end of the file? Huh, dumbass. Huh, you don't know any of the shortcuts. Huh. Truly wasted time.
Yeah. Wasted time indeed. Let me tell
Do
you.
you have the end key on your keyboard, or do you have like a 60%?
Yes, I have the end key. I just elect not to do it. Right?
Funhouse out here with the like big brain calculations. If I extend my arm and then control and then at the same time, that'll shorten my arm's lifespan. I may as well hit the down key a bunch of times.
Mm-hmm. They're bridges. So, yeah.
I now know another thing, Funhouse.
And what is that?
I don't need, well, depending how Windows is set up, but I don't need some insanely fine-grained access like I get on a Linux kernel in order to hack Discord. Since you are running this KGB software on a Windows machine, I do not need the power I get with installing root certificates on a Linux machine. I can use the power I get from Windows or Windows Enterprise.
Okay, so consider the fact that the reason that KGB can run on whatever the hell I want is because it's a multi-platform application.
Exactly.
Oh, I thought
But
you
if that
coded it yourself.
multi-platform application was
Yeah, well, no, I did. It's compiled for multiple
but like
platforms.
isn't Go like cross-platform? But
It is. That's what makes it easy.
but I was under the impression it was platform dependent on your ability to implant your own root certificates in the level that you can only do on the Linux kernel, which you compile yourself with your own certificates. This is not the case, however, because you're running it on Windows. I was under the impression I had to pre-compile the kernel with my own certificates.
No, just for what you call it? Just for what do you call it? Just for the original reverse engineering was that required?
Right, okay. Because you have to analyze the traffic. Huh.
Yeah. Once I know what it does right here, it doesn't matter. Right?
Right, I see. But just for the reverse engineering, you wouldn't really need... Wouldn't you just want a VM? But then, yeah, whatever, I guess that's what you did.
Yeah, so like this bot is collecting data from, you said, the top 20 servers. It just downloads
Top 100.
Top 100.
Top 100. Yeah, so by population on Discord.
Oh my god.
So
How much data like does that take on your hard drives every day?
how much data does that take up?
Yeah.
A lot. Let me just go check what it says right here.
You must have so many memes.
Oh yeah, no, I get the dankest memes as soon as they're published. So for today, it's 34.3 gig.
Oh my goodness. That's
So
crazy.
gotta have your space, right?
What are individual files stored as? What are individual messages stored as?
Log links, log
Text
messages.
documents.
Okay, so right. So what takes up the most space? Is it images?
Yeah,
or-
it's videos. People uploading videos.
Yeah.
Because then I can be like, all right, politics, right?
Oh wow, that's sick.
And I can see by username, right?
Oh my god. So,
Well,
actually, wow. Just for fun, like, could you? I don't know, like, go on my username just to see like what you logged on me.
yeah, sure. Here, let me just go.
Supreme leader, yeah.
Let me just go look for your folder right here.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? What the fuck am I doing that? I can just do
just scroll down. Yeah.
S. Yeah. Have you ever said anything in chat recently?
Yeah.
While the bot was running.
Yeah.
Oh, while the bot was running, I don't know.
Okay, here, let's go look for Doobie.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
Oh, Darth come Nanos, yeah. Man, actually, this is. I kind of want to run this bot myself. Is it? Wait, did you create this? Or
Only
did you...
one.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Oh.
however, right?
Wait, are these
There's
folders? Are these folders just like the media that they posted? Because I don't post
Is
media.
Go the language that uses crates and like a centralized source directory?
Okay, hold on. So I'm gonna go copy Doobie's ID, and we're gonna go to the more exciting section right here. We're gonna go to data, log messages,
Right.
right? And then we're gonna paste in Doobie's ID.
Oh.
Now these are the things
Wow,
that
that's
he's
awesome. Okay. Wow. That's
Oh, hey, look at this. Hey, look at that. Oh, oh,
oh, spicy.
Jesus. Hold on.
Holy shit.
Some spiciness. Funhouse, does this use like a WebSocket connection that directly just streams data between you and Discord? How exactly does this work?
It emulates the way that a client interacts with Discord.
What technical protocols is used?
That's a secret, man. Not
Man,
giving up my
fuck.
reverse engineering, right? Otherwise, they might patch it, and then it'll be a lot less effective, right? But
Well,
yeah, long story short, it's pretty effective.
yeah, I mean, you could create a Discord bot with Python or whatever and just do this, but like, it'll take a lot of work. Right?
Yeah, and so,
Yeah, but you
and
would have to figure out how to use it, which is the very,
And
very
you need a bot.
fucking hard part.
you need a bot token as well, right? The
Yeah.
fact that
Funhouse.
this works without one is what makes it special.
Funhouse, is the 172.16.42 a like local or reserved subnet?
Yes, it is.
Huh. So that's why the pineapple uses that specific subnet. What is the specific description of that subnet? Like, why is it reserved?
Local network, RFC 1918.
Huh. Let me check that out. Does it also include the other loopback addresses?
It's not a loopback address, it's an RFC 1918.
Okay. Address location it doesn't include. Right. So the 10.1. Right. So they're just there. Oh, interesting. I didn't know it was one of these. Huh. Well then, now I know.
Yep, you do now. So, yeah, it's nice and straightforward there. Let me just go check what I got for one, and let's just change that to BR1 before I do something stupid. BR1, BR1. I probably didn't change that for each one. BR2, BR2. Oh ho, almost. Right. BR2, BR2, and BR2.
There are 3 interfaces?
There are a lot more than that.
Huh.
We're just assigning a whole bunch of IPs to each one right here.
So the process of reverse engineering is one. Well, you're not assigning them. You're like assigning them to the DHCP server.
So in this case, what I did for each one of these, right, is that we've assigned them static IP addresses.
The same static IP?
Nope. Incremented by 1. Right? So you have 1.7.16.42.1, 43.1, 44, 45.1.
Oh, okay. Everyone's getting their own like 255 subnet.
But what we're gonna do, right, is all of these interfaces. So we're just gonna exit this IPA, right? We have 33, 4, 35, 36, and 37. Those are all gonna be placed on their own bridges, right? So in this case, if I go to like BR0, right? And is it gonna be ETH0? Fuck no, it's not. It's gonna be ENS34.
Interesting.
And then we'll go over here, right? ETH0? Nah. It'll be 35. right?
What does ENS stand for?
Ethernet network, right? It's the
What does
one
the
that
S
was-
stand for?
I believe it's socket right there. 'Cause
And
it's
then
a virtual
34
machine.
reports to a. Okay, I see. And F, and then how does it differentiate between ETH or ETH? When is referred to ETH1 or 2, that refers to a physical port.
It's up to the kernel. Yep. So
Huh. Depending on the actual physical port, the kernel decides.
yeah, the kernel decides what to name them.
Okay.
Oh, let me just go check that. Yeah.
What are you trying to accomplish?
Oh, we're setting up a Linux router.
A Linux router?
Yep.
Mhm.
For what purpose?
Basically how to have the ultimate home router and home server all in one system.
What's wrong
Cut
with
out
the-
to ubiquity.
What's wrong with a commercial router?
What's wrong with a commercial router? Not exactly good for your own privacy right there, plus you can do it better.
Funhouse. What's wrong with the commercial router, man? Obviously, Cisco makes amazing commercial routers. Ubiquity makes amazing enterprise routers, bro. They've clearly run no issues. Come on, explain yourself right now. Explain
Yeah.
yourself at once, Funhouse.
Explain yourself.
Elaborate on your
Funhouse.
actions, or
It
else, or else. I have warned you. I will force you to rewrite your entire
Yeah,
software
exactly. He's gonna-
in
he's gonna
Python.
violate.
Do you hear me, Funhouse?
Hey,
Your software speed will be decreased by tenfold of different folds.
Yeah. So
I've warned you.
yeah, the problem with commercial routers, right, is typically they're insecure. Right, they're insecure typically because the developer of the operating system that runs on the router doesn't want to maintain it. Because that's a lot of work for what is really a not that large of a margin item. Right, so a Linux system, right, can do far more right there and receive regular software updates. Right, so good for security right there.
But it's open source. That's very unsecure. Everyone sees the code.
Lol.
Yeah. So just ignore Mandy, he's retarded.
The other thing too that is a kind of an advantage maybe is that you can have commercial products arbitrarily EOL'd, right?
no, wait. Wouldn't you have like? Hey, am I crazy here? Wouldn't
Yes,
you
you
have
are.
like a SLA that you don't EOL your product
that's
randomly?
it.
What do you mean when you say commercial? Do you mean like just off-the-shelf commercial or enterprise commercial?
Either way, they can still terminate it.
No, but if you have like an SLA contract, wouldn't like if you're a
No.
massive corporation,
No,
Yeah.
you have in that contract you are not EOLing this product anytime soon. You're
not what it
guaranteeing
says.
support or damages.
no, that's not how it works, right?
Well, odd.
How that works, right, is that when you get a support agreement right there, it just simply means that they'll provide you assistance with the device, including firmware updates. That does not mean they cannot EOL a product on you. Right? In fact, they
Oh.
have no commitment to not EOL the product on you.
Okay, so end of life. Does this imply there's no software upgrades?
Does it imply that there's no more upgrades?
What does
for it
EOL
right
actually mean? In this context, what does end of life mean?
now? End of life cycle, right? So
What's defined within the life cycle?
the life cycle is however long the manufacturer decides to keep making and selling this product, right? You could have a product that was released last year and the company goes out of business and they decide to EOL all their products. That's it.
Okay, but they will still be under like a contract to provide support and updates.
No.
But you signed the SLA. Under the
But that's-
SLA.
But the SLA, they can always exit the contract. You understand that, right?
Huh.
Like they are
Well,
not married into providing you support. They don't have to.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But so does the Linux kernel maintainers. They don't have to give you support, Funhouse.
Nope. Right. I was gonna say, right? The Linux kernel has what's the word we use here? A better reputation, I guess you can say, right? For being reliable than pretty much any other commercial vendor ever.
But But they had all of the malware links on GitHub, Funhouse. There were 35,000 malware links on fork repositories on GitHub. Huh? And there were like 4 pull requests. Isn't that scary?
Sure. Right.
The entire analysis was like, oh, we found 34,000 of this specific link on like forks of all the major projects, and they were all pull requests, and they were all fucking denied. Reason? Malware. Oh damn, pretty funny.
Yeah, this has been a long-standing concern, quote unquote, right?
I think the bigger concern is GitHub using the source code within their machine learning model, and then create
Yup.
yeah, and then using
but
that to create a
man.
neural net.
But
Man,
Microsoft
but
has your best interests at heart.
That's wait, okay. So
Embrace,
what I'm
extend,
very interested
extinguish.
in, what I'm very interested in, is the actual neural net. So the output of the machine learning model, the neural net. Can that be considered also as a output of the source code input, and then theoretically GPL'd? Not just the output. So there are 2 stuff which are producing outputs. The machine learning model produces a neural net. The neural net produces source code. The source code should for sure be under GPL, because it is a derivative work of the GPL'd code, which is required for it. But the neural net, should that be GPL'd? I think it should, right?
I
Because the
agree.
machine learning model, that's not that's not a derivative work of GPL'd code, but the neural net is, and the machine learning model is acting as a compiler of sorts, right?
Okay.
Which then, I believe there are legal precedents for the output of the compiler being licensed under the input of the input source code. Is there legal precedent for that?
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, okay, there is. Huh. Anyways. I'm more interested lately in the OpenZFS file system. Pretty cool.
Hey, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Read this entire thing by what's his name, Wendell, about metadata devices.
Well,
That
Wendell
shit's
from
level
Watson
7
Tex or
tech.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
level 7 techs.
The guy that used to shack up with that Wolverine character.
Yeah, level 7 techs. It's amazing stuff.
Bro,
Bro,
Logan,
special
you remember
metadata
Logan?
devices. Special metadata devices. They're so fucking cool.
Hey,
Yeah.
Mandy, do you remember Logan from fucking
The special
the
metadata
tech?
devices. Yeah, those are amazing. Logan is an awesome
Mandy.
dude. Yeah.
Mandy, do you remember Logan from the tech?
Yeah. Logan
Yeah.
from the tech, bro. That dude's awesome. Me and him used to talk all the time about special metadata devices and OpenZFS and Sun Microsystems developing OpenZFS, and how Sun Microsystem was ahead of its time by every standard.
Yeah, they sort of got me. They sort of got me interested in hardware when I was in my early teens. When I was in my early 20s.
Is the hardware you're interested in vibrating and made out of silicon?
No, man.
Sure.
Funny you should mention that. I'm going to the snow here here at the end of the week, and I made myself an infinite scarf out of an old tank top singlet
Wow.
thing.
Did you know
And,
I'm working? I think you should help me out here. I'm working on this.
Anyway, Mandy, just let me finish.
Yeah.
I actually cut the bottom off it and left the the shoulders, whatever. Fuck, I don't need them. Turned out I made a fucking crop top though. So
Oh.
yeah,
That's pretty awesome. It's pretty
pretty
spicy.
pretty
Pretty spicy.
pretty fabulous.
I need your help here.
Might say.
I need your help, right? Imagine I have a machine that does something. It either prints out the letter A, or, depending on the input, it'll stop. Or it'll continue forever, right? Some input may cause my machine to go forever. Some input may cause my machine to stop. I need you to develop a machine that predicts what inputs will cause my machine to stop, and what inputs will cause my machine to halt. It's a pretty easy task, right? Coded in no time. In Scratch, it's a nice GUI programming language. What do you think, Funhouse? How should we solve it?
How should we solve what?
Oh, how do I predict if my program is gonna run or stop? Is there a way for a machine to do that for me? Because at the moment, I work for this company as a junior halting manager. My job is to run a program and to check if it halts or stops. I want to automate my work.
You do realize if you automate your work, you don't have a job anymore, right?
Yeah, I know. But I'm going to do it secretly. And obviously, if I write code working for an employer, there is no legal precedent that says that my code is owned by my employer. It is obviously true. There is never.
You
I know.
are unbearably naive.
I know, Funhouse. That's why I literally said it. Man, fuck. Jesus, guys, you guys are ruining all my punchlines.
What punchlines?
I obviously know that there are legal precedents that when you write code working for a company where your intentions is to make your job easier, or the output of your code is for the production of the company, then that is owned. The copyright and the IP is owned by the company. This is like legal precedent that has been established like multiple countries. I obviously said it. Man, fuck, I'm not gonna be explaining my jokes here.
Look, you're just a teenager. You don't know how to enunciate yourself properly yet. You're also lacking fundamental knowledge.
Okay. Then teach me. Teach me the fundamental knowledge.
Do you have literally years of your life to give?
True. Teach me what knowledge I am lacking so I know what direction to look for, right?
Do you have literally years of your life to give? I'm just gonna let it happen naturally. I don't have to do anything. It'll just happen.
Yeah.
There's no quicker way to delete stuff, Funhouse?
No, there totally is. I just don't give a shit. I literally have something resting on my fucking delete key right now, and I'm doing something else.
Is that something like a biological finger?
No, it's actually a screwdriver. So,
I like
still
hitting the D
confused.
key twice in Vim.
yeah, that works
I'm
too.
still confused. Are you doing this
Double D.
as a project?
This is just for entertainment, yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's fair. I was a little concerned if you were. I mean, what the hell does this server even? What purpose does it serve unless you're trying to hide something that you may be being watched for? But
Wow. Funhouse, I think he knows too much. I think we should definitely call someone off him. He knows a bit too much.
Yeah, no, in this case, right, it's mainly to do with the fact, like, as a little side project right there, I also sell commercial firewall appliances that use, in this case, OpenBSD as their core. But I thought, maybe Linux is a little more accessible for beginners and has wider hardware support.
Wouldn't you want to use OpenBSD because it has a much lower footprint? So you want it for like critical applications?
You mean like attack surface?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
Sure, right? There is a lesser attack surface, right? However, the hardware support is worse, which means that if you're trying to make something accessible, right, you have to ask yourself, what is more valuable, right? The chances that it supports the network card on any random computer that you have, right? Or, right, a slightly reduced attack surface, both of which will cover up with firewall rules.
How big is the attack surface increase going to a Linux kernel? Or even a hardened kernel, right?
How much of an increase is it right there? Not that much overall.
So the actual attack surface would be defined by the application installed, not primarily by the kernel.
Well, the kernel has some security issues that are present, and there's some hardenings that are unique to BSD, right? However, it's not strictly necessary, right? Because you have to ask yourself, what software will this be running? Right?
What software can it run which
will
allow for a I don't know. What kind of software will allow for the exploits on the Linux kernel?
Well, any software that's accessible to the internet could be used as a mechanism, right, to pivot an attack against the kernel.
What do you mean attack against the kernel?
Okay, so you can't just attack the kernel over the WAN, right? Which means that you need an application, so you need a vulnerability in that application, right, to then use as your pivot point to attack the local system and presumably get more access.
When you attack the kernel, what kind of access would you get? Like PID 1? What would you get when you attack the kernel?
PID
like
0.
ring 1? Oh, okay.
Ring 0.
Oh, Ring 0. Right. Wait. But isn't Ring 0 firmware?
No, Ring 0 is kernel.
Oh. Ring 1 is like the
Ring
boot.
1 is like the root user.
Oh, okay, I see. Alright, it's Ring 0. Huh, so you need a vulnerable application which is accessible through the web, or WAN or LAN,
Yeah.
or whatever. And then from that, you would use that to... Okay, I see. And in that scenario where you're running like, you know, free Robux generator on your Linux and BSD computers, if someone cracks the free Robux generator, your BSD computer may have a slightly higher chance of not allowing a successful pivot into the kernel and then accessing Ring 0.
Yes. Right. However,
But this is default kernel. What about if you harden the Linux kernel?
you
and-
can harden the Linux kernel, but there are features present in OpenBSD's kernel that are not possible in Linux.
Hardening features wise? Or
Yes.
default? I guess
Like
both.
feature-wise.
Oh, okay, I see. Security features wise. Yeah,
Yes,
which ones?
specific. For example, Castler and ASLR, right? So kernel address space randomization, right? As well as address space layout randomization, right? They have something called stack smashing protection built in, which means that if you try to do buffer overflows, it will prevent that,
Okay.
right? A whole
So I don't
bunch
have
of
to
very
code
useful
I don't
things.
have to actually be a good programmer anymore. This is
No,
awesome.
actually, you need to be a really good programmer for BSD, right? Because your application won't run. Because if your program relies on accidental things like that to work, it'll stop
Yeah.
working because BSD won't
Alright.
allow it.
BSD can like detect memory leaks. I don't know.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
but,
you also
yeah, but
have
I guess kernel
resource
can.
limits. Hard enforced.
Oh wait, like kernel level resource limits?
Yes, you can prevent any user from doing anything.
To, like, touch them?
I can say root user is only allowed to use 256 megs of RAM, and that's it.
Can do that to a PID as well?
Yep.
Huh.
That is
And that you can't do that at all on the kernel level on Linux?
you can on Linux right there, but it is not enforced as a complete part of the kernel. It is a module.
Oh, okay, I see.
It was never built in with that intention. It was bolted on.
It's an added module. Okay, I see. So it's a different. It's like in a different class of enforcement. Well, that's pretty cool.
Bazaar versus Cathedral.
Yeah, I see.
Right. So, but in this case, we're going with Linux because Linux is easier to get into and more software that the average person needs to run runs
Is
on.
on and plus hardware support.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Hmm.
So
So if I would run anything BSD, it would be like a single router or like a proxy into my private network or a VPN server, something very, very high security.
yeah. Right, but then in those cases, all of that wouldn't be running on x86 if the security really mattered.
That's true.
So, in this case, we're talking about making a nice tutorial for those that have like a Dell Optiplex, right? Maybe one of those
funhouse.
quad NICs, right? And a Wi-Fi
Yeah.
card, right?
I
Nothing
think
too crazy.
I think it makes sense. I shouldn't be running my stuff on x86. Okay, let me pull out my M1 MacBook. Let's run some.
Is it like a hypervisor or some shit?
Yeah, this is VMware.
Mm.
Right, more specifically, we're using PuTTY to connect to a VMware virtual machine. In fact, you know what? Okay, I'm gonna get tired of this.
Okay.
We're just gonna go.
What? Okay.
Pull this
What's
trip
that?
right here.
What's this like a hypervisor called Zen server?
Zen is obsolete.
What are viable hypervisors I can run?
If you're looking
There's-
for the most common, KVM, right? If you're looking for the second most common right there, you'd be looking at Hyper-V, right? ESXi, right? And Beehive.
Never heard of Beehive.
Yeah, it's going to be a learning experience then.
Government. Wow. I think that's a different thing. Okay, let me search Beehive hypervisor.
Yeah.
Oh, the BSD Beehive. Yeah, I've heard about this. Yes, now I remember. Right, it was B as in BSD and then Hive as in hypervisor.
Yeah.
Well, the website doesn't even have a docs page, That's BeehiveCon. That's the agenda of the Beehive. Where are the documentation or like something I can read about fucking Beehive?
Listen, man, if you can get fucking BSD installed right there, then you can even start working on Beehive. Right.
Oh, wiki.bsd.org. Oh, there it is.
It's
Nice. What do I need to know to install BSD? I'm guessing like mounting drives, partitions, initialization,
understanding the differences between BSD and Linux systems right there.
Well,
Right?
then
Having
it requires
support
me
for
understanding like Linux and requires me understanding both of them before I can understand the differences. Well, this is too hard for me. Let me install Proxmox on a Docker container. What's that Docker operating system? Rancher?
Garbage? Yeah.
Almost. No, what was the other one?
Mm-hmm.
Podman, right? What was the Red Hat thing?
The Red Hat hypervisor right there.
No, container, operator. Podman?
I'm not sure, man.
There's like this older thing, way before like the bougie developer like. Oh. Yeah. Okay, this is much older. Pod manager tool. Container tooling. Right. This was the OG container tool. Huh. Okay.
Yep.
I should. In a compiled language, are there any like debugging tools that come close to a interpreted language? Or I guess debugging would be like
you first do a debug build right there, and it'll post all sorts of information about what your application's doing.
Okay, so I guess the debug tool is just taking your code and creating a debug build that just does much more. Oh, okay, I see.
Right.
And then the alternative is just running your entire system tick by tick. Damn. That's it's kind of tough.
It's really not, man.
How many ticks per second does like the average CPU go? A couple of million? No, giga is a billion, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So that's a couple billion ticks a second. Damn.
It's not that complicated, man.
You heard like how Martin Shkreli apparently got hacked when he was trying to scam people out of his Bitcoin. He wasn't able to scam them because he got scammed himself.
Nice.
After clicking on boobs and round ass, a torrent, which was like a Windows screensaver that also executed code. I guess just like a remote code execution. No, not a remote code, a privilege escalation code execution bug on like the screensaver files. Random fucking feature that has a bug. Who would have known?
No.
They should have followed the Unix philosophy. How every piece of software should be the biggest thing possible and do the most stuff possible and have the biggest scope possible. Every single piece of software should not be interoperable, while every single piece of software should not be easy to understand, be complex and complicated.
Yep. Naturally.
That's correct.
That's true, the true philosophy. Yeah.
In fact, it should be so difficult that after you leave the company, nobody should even touch the software.
Exactly. As it should be.
It's always interesting hearing tech people talk.
I did want to ask you something else. On image repo.
Okay.
How would you set up something to prevent link rot, right? We have one path on the server that leads to an image. 10 days later, I update that path. I update the image at that path, right? Image 1 is now another image. Is there any way how would I keep version control of those two stuff? Do I have to like... Soft linking?
Yeah.
I'm not really familiar with the ideas of file linking between different files on Linux, so I need to understand them better. I'll watch a video on it or read some documentation. I guess I can just go to the man page, right? Die-man, what was it? Man7? Die.man7?
There you go. Read that. I'll even change it to easy to read mode for you.
I'm on Die-man7, I think that's the site. Yeah, man7, linux.die.net.
There. It's right there.
LN?
Just for you, right?
Links between files, life page. A sec. Where the first thing is target links.
So is this the new tech VC or what's going on?
Yeah. Well, who's in the tech VC? I think all the JavaScript developers are in the tech VC.
Those aren't real developers.
Ew, yucky.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yucky.
As a Python developer, I am very much better than a JavaScript developer because my language does not use an event loop. It does not use an interpreted kernel, and it does not use C code because it's faster, and its own for loop implementation is like 10 times slower.
Yes, as you do.
It's so painfully obvious that you're trying to establish your own attempts to establish your own intelligence, your own knowledge.
Obviously. If you can see it, then it is clearly, painfully obvious.
Look, I understand you're young. You don't really know. You're insecure about you're insecure about how others see you, about the knowledge that people might assume you do or do not have. It's just, I don't know, be a little more subtle about it.
I don't think I will, but thanks. But thanks for the advice anyways.
If you don't take it, you'll just learn in time.
In time.
Hopefully.
You will, yeah.
Or your autism
Hey,
will prevent you from learning. I don't know.
Funhouse, can I get an angel shot, dude?
Can you get a what?
Can I get an angel shot?
An angel shot?
What
Depends.
was that?
Some fucking gay shit on TikTok going around. Apparently, an angel shot. If you ask a bartender for an angel shot, some bloke might be harassing you or something.
I figured that. I just wasn't sure if that was some type of Aussie drink that I hadn't heard of.
It's like, what the fuck? I don't even know if it can be applied in the wild because you know, anything that starts online is like fake as fuck anyway.
Oh, it's always fake as fuck. Yeah. Okay. Oh, pseudo bang bang.
The fuck? What's about? Wait. Doesn't a pseudo bang bang allow for someone to edit? Where does bang bang come from? The bash history? No, because the bash history is written on exit.
Previous entry.
And then that gets written. I guess previous entry is stored in X place in memory. That then all of them get written to the bash history or the history file.
No, this doesn't go to history. This is a feature of the shell. Right. So what we're saying is bash append what I just sent to you last time, right? After sudo.
Where is bang bang stored?
Bang bang is not stored anywhere. It's a reference.
Yeah, what it's referring to. Where is that stored?
Stored in your ass.
Yeah, it is.
Is there an opportunity or ability to overwrite that with a malicious command?
No. Not unless you're doing it as the same user. So.
Okay.
The bang function is the same as the kiss function.
Yeah. Kissy bang bang.
Yeah, kiss bang bang. Yeah.
Or as you would say, sissy bang bang.
Yeah, sissy bang bang. Yeah.
What's a bogon or bogon IP address?
What's a bogon IP address? An IP address that isn't assigned on the internet.
Okay, so all of the. Okay, I see. The 0net, the 10, 100, 64. Okay, the loopbacks. Okay, I see. Are there really people that can read hex and convert it to like decimal in their head?
Yeah, those people we would call insane.
Huh.
ENS 33.
When you see hex, do you read it as text or do you read it as a number?
I actually put it in a calculator.
Oh, okay.
If I actually need to process it as a number, if not, I'll read it as text.
Okay. Well, in your head, it would be easier to memorize it as text than rather than assigning it an integer value.
Pardon me?
What do you think would be easier? To like memorize it as a text or memorize it as number?
Text.
Which the polls, not the topic.
I guess like converting it to a number is like just vastly outweighs the benefit of memorizing it as number.
Sec here, man. Okay, pulse routing. Do I want to?
Yo, it's not coming off.
Yeah.
Oh, ENS 33, right? That's our WAN interface. Yeah, ENS 33 is our WAN.
Oh my god. What kind of
Some
shampoo is
blow.
this, yo? Oh.
What's PPOE?
Point-to-point protocol over Ethernet.
What I guess this is the way for you to log in. What exactly what do you use that for?
What would you use it for right there? So, are you familiar with DSL?
I guess that's internet over phone lines. That's all I know about it. I think it uses like the 4-pin
It uses
RJ11.
It uses two. But it can
Yeah.
also use up to 2 pairs, which is 4 wires.
Okay.
So, for DSL networks,
Okay.
right, in the past, there wasn't the ability, right, to use like DHCP, right? That wasn't as popular. And so you had the point-to-point protocol, which provided authentication and accounting and a whole bunch of convenient things for the internet service provider, right? And so this allowed to actually have you log in, and that's what your router would do with PPOE. It also provides encapsulation and encryption, technically. So it can do a lot of things. Hold on, we're just going to get a Windows 10 virtual machine to go sit behind our Linux system.
Can you link me some reading materials about how a fiber becomes internet service in your house?
Depends on the technology. On GPON, Ethernet fibers, or what?
So it's fiber to GPON, and then GPON to dark fiber. Then
GPON
I guess
it's not dark fiber, right? You gotta remember. Fiber
No, no,
that is
so
being lit is not dark fiber.
Uh,
Dark
well-
fiber is unused fiber.
oh, that's what. I
That's
thought
why
just
it's dark.
dark fiber. Okay. So I guess so fiber from me to GPON, then GPON to Bell, and then Bell to the exchange point to other exchange points.
Yeah.
And then to servers.
Yeah.
And then to my hentai. Okay. That process, me to GPON, does that require authentication?
Yeah.
What's happening me to GPON?
The PON is probably using 802.11x authentication.
Give me a second. Shit, I didn't out. IEEE's on a port-based internet. Damn, the fucking diagrams.
Why don't you kind of read it like that? Right? This is probably done by something called, right, either your media converter, right, which could be a little white box, or by your modem. Right? But they will authenticate themselves to the carrier.
Thinking about it now, I know what a router does. I know what an access point does. I don't know what a switch or a modem do.
Modem, modulator, a demodulator. Helps carry a signal on a different medium. and then convert it back.
Huh, so a modem would take fiber and then convert it to, and then modulation refers to, like, the current?
Well, by virtue, right, a fiber optic transceiver is a form of modem, as it turns the electronic signals necessary for
So, like,
Ethernet to work to be
those
carried
SF
over fiber.
So those fiber SFP cables are technically modems?
Technically, in a very, like, primitivist sense right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I see what you mean.
But
So, okay. And what
you
does the
wouldn't
switch do?
hear it referenced that way. What does a switch do right there? So a switch is a type of ASIC that is used to switch packets around a network to hosts that need them. Does that make sense?
Switch packets around the network. This
Yeah,
implies
so-
one packet only goes one place. Can the switch create packets? Like on a
No.
broadcast?
No.
So
Right.
if I am broadcasting to the broadcast domain, all the packets are originating from me?
They're originating from you, they go to the switch, and the switch will deliver them to all ports because it's a broadcast. Right?
Oh! Right.
But
The
it is
broadcast
not-
just tells the switch just to not filter any ports.
in this case, right, the switch isn't the one that decides that, right? It is the actual ASIC that makes that decision right there. Unless you have a managed switch and then it changes. Make sense?
Wait, okay. If I have one packet, right? And what's the technical name for a ping on ICBN hello? I think that's what it's called.
ICMP echo.
ICMP echo, right? And I'm trying to send that to all in my broadcast range, as it should be. I have the entire, 225, well, okay, whatever, as it should be. I have like 225 devices.
You mean
When I,
25.
okay, if I want to broadcast to every one of them,
Yeah.
the broadcast doesn't have to be sent to each IP individually on my end, right?
It doesn't have to be sent from you. No, you're sending it to the broadcast IP. Which is part of the
Okay.
IPv4 spec.
And that broadcast IP,
Is the 255.
and then
That's
that
why you can-
generates a broadcast and sends it to each external port, excluding the sender.
Yeah, so how that works, right, is when something is sent to 255, or the network broadcast domain, right, will be sent as a broadcast packet, and each system, right, that is part of that layer 2 domain will receive that packet.
Layer 2, is this devices which are on like the MAC table?
That are on a layer 2 domain. So it could be a switch, they could be going across VLANs, it could be many ways.
Right, layer 1 is physical cables, layer 2 is switch, 3 routing, 5 JavaScript, 6 GraphQL, 7 SOAP APIs. Jesus, those were scary. Huh. So what do I have in my house right over here? Let's check. Okay, 1 fiber in the small plastic box. Let's check. Yeah, that just terminates it into like a receiving cable. And this goes to a small device with a MAC, which I guess is the modem.
Okay. Does it go to Ethernet after that?
Yeah. Why would the modem have a MAC address?
Because it also is a part of the network. It's just not a part of your side of the network. Right? So that device probably does your 802.1x authentication to prove that it is legit to your provider. Right? And when they invalidate the credentials, let's say you cancel your account, that's when that gets turned off. Because it'll be denied access to the network.
Okay, and then my router just takes over from there, creates another VLAN. Creates another LAN
It
on the
creates
router's
a-
end.
It doesn't create a LAN, it creates a WAN. Right? So in this case, your router would be sending THCP requests to your carrier, who will provide it a response. Right?
You said what?
So,
What does a WAN mean?
wide area
This-
network.
So the wide area networks requires an external
A
ARN
publicly
register,
routable IP address is required.
and in theory also verified by what's their names, the
RN.
ARN. Okay.
Yes, all public IP addresses need to be validated by
Yeah, okay,
RN,
okay.
otherwise you won't be able to access the internet with them.
Right. So if I would want to have my own like modem, my own whole setup, I either connect. Well, if my router has a WAN port, it is expecting the type of traffic that a modem would send it, and the modem, who's giving the IP address? Who's making the DHCP call? The modem or the router?
Your router is.
Through the WAN, and then that WAN cable to the modem. That modem is using the 802.11.
Your
X.
modem, right? So in this case, right, you have something called the OLT, right, and the PON. Right?
What does OLT and PON stand for?
OLT, right, optical line terminator, and the PON, passive optical network, right? And then you have the ONT, right, the optical network terminator, right? And so
yeah, I have all three of those.
You have only one of those, right?
But this one already has a sticker on it, so I guess
I have a terminator.
You do not have a terminator, right?
Oh, those are two cables connecting. That's not technically what it means. What does a terminator mean?
Okay. So the terminator is the one that handles the connections on the carrier's end. Right?
Okay.
Right? You're just one of the basic bitch tier LONs, right? You just passively sit on the network. Right? And so, right, until basically Hellfreeze is over, right, it won't matter. Right? And so your modem will establish its 802.11x, or sorry, 802.1x, right, connection, right, in this case to Bell, to prove who it is, right, to Bell, and then that will create an Ethernet bridge across the PON, right? And then that would allow you to talk to Bell's DHCP server, to which your router will send a layer 2 DHCP request across. Savvy?
Yeah. I understand stuff much better now. This is cool. I'm gonna have to read this entire fucking article.
Not that complicated.
It really isn't.
Nope.
Just you have to figure out a lot of terminology and jargon.
Just have to be familiar with what each piece does right there. Just think of fiber as a form of Ethernet. So that's effectively what it is.
Yeah, one time. Eventually I'll get it. By me, anytime I try to understand anything, it just takes step by step, one jargon piece at a time, till eventually you understand the entire puzzle.
Yeah, well, it's not too difficult. Behaves like Ethernet, walks like Ethernet, talks like Ethernet. It is Ethernet.
I'm not that familiar with how exactly Ethernet talks on like the level 2 layer.
So you have MAC addresses. Right?
Okay.
So it behaves just like that.
I know MAC addresses exist, and I think MAC addresses refer to physical connection between two ports.
No, MAC addresses are how each individual computer will identify themselves to each other. Right?
How many MAC addresses can there be?
How many MAC addresses can there be? Pretty much an infinite combination.
What's the... If I convert all MAC addresses to an integer, what's the biggest... What's all the sum total of all of them?
There's not a limit.
How?
Right.
Isn't there a length?
No. Okay, so there is a length, right? But, right, you can have pretty much any letters in there, right? It's not... And here's the best part, it only needs to be unique on the layer 2 domain. So they don't have to be unique across the internet. Right?
Oh. Okay, that's interesting. They're not hex?
What's that?
Aren't MAC addresses hexadecimal?
They can be, yeah.
But they don't have to be.
They don't have to be, technically. That's a very big technical... Certain devices actually support special MAC address formats, but...
Okay. So
right.
That raises the potential size from base 16 to... what?
You can have different vendors, right? So Ethernet is the most common standard, right? However, right, it doesn't have to do that, if that makes sense. Right?
The Ethernet standard is hexadecimal MAC addresses?
Okay, so I will show you here, right? Okay. So, specifically, a valid MAC address for the Ethernet standard, right, must have 12 hexadecimal digits right there, right, separated by a hyphen or a colon, right? That's it, right? However, some other companies right there, right, because you got to remember, in layer 2 can get really funky depending on the technology that's in use, right? Because it doesn't have to be Ethernet. It could also be things like SONET.
It could be what?
SONET.
SOND?
Okay, I will stream it
Alternative
I will share it on my screen,
L2.
right? So, this is SONET, synchronous optical networking,
Still loading on my end.
right? So this is synchronous optical.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to load it.
I'm not gonna be able to load this. All right.
Oh, I see it.
Right.
Shut up, bitch.
So
Synchronous optical networking.
yeah, this is a whole bunch of SONET equipment.
Okay.
Right.
And technically, it doesn't matter what you have on the layer 2.
I know exactly.
Doesn't matter
where
as
you
far
live.
as it's concerned, as long as
I know
your
exactly
devices
where
get
you
something they
live.
understand, it's good to go.
When you say your devices get something to understand, do you mean like the layer 3 and up understand?
Yeah.
In your walls.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. Then in
So
that
technically, it doesn't really matter how you deliver like the SSH packet, as long as
it
you
gets
deliver
through
it, bro.
Yeah. So for
That
example,
you can like have someone writing text down and then like feeding that
I'm in
into
your
like a
walls. I'm looking
scanner.
at it right now.
as
I
long
can
as it
see
gets
you.
to you,
I'm
right, in a
looking
way
at
that you're.
you.
Wait, I'm just gonna ask this question: if I have like a kid reading in a text file and inputting it byte by byte into a computer,
I'm looking at
that's
your walls.
technically a layer 2.
Yes, it can be. And
I can
also,
see you.
don't forget by carrier pigeon. That's
I'm
also
behind you. I'm
a
smelling you.
draft standard, right?
So if I'm a carrier, I can do whatever which way I
I'm
want to make my layer 2 better or quicker or
behind you.
faster.
Look behind you.
Which could also include
Behind you.
technically
Look behind
There
adding
you
all
go.
kinds of letters to the
Look
MAC
behind-
address.
Look behind
Right.
you. Look behind
So-
you.
That's a thing.
Rip down your walls and you'll see me. I'm looking at
Interesting.
you.
That's actually
I'm
pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm behind you.
This was
IP over
I'm behind you.
Avian carriers? Send me
Yeah.
this link. I want to
I'm
read
behind you.
this.
Okay, yeah, this
How are
was
you feeling?
basically
I'm
a prank that was done
Wait,
just to demonstrate
This
that
is
it can be
awesome.
done.
Wait, who's
Right?
the RFC 6214 here? Let me search
You're-
this.
Okay,
RFC.
right. So under right RFC 1149, right, a homing pigeon can carry internet protocol traffic. And so here's an example of a ping where they've gone ahead and done their connections right here. They've sent their ping packets, right, and then they put them on a carrier pigeon, sent them back, and then put them on the machine to send them across.
Aw, hell yeah.
Look at the fucking milliseconds, though.
Let me see.
Nice.
That's pretty funny.
So yes, you can do it.
Wholesome.
All right.
Truly. One of them took like half as long as the other one.
Yeah. That was just a faster bird, like so.
Damn.
Right.
That's pretty funny. So this proves the point that L2 is like pretty arbitrary as long as you send the packets.
Yeah. So there's some risks to it though. Carriers being attacked by birds of prey. Right.
Very problematic. Was that an RFC as well?
Yeah. 2549. Right.
Oh yeah, I see it updated by 2449 and 6214.
Yeah.
What's 6214?
These are all literally just RFCs right here.
It says unintentional encapsulation in Hawks has been known to occur. That's so awesome.
With decapsulation
I
being.
guess this is like the original like. This is the original like 418 I'm a teapot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so in this
damn.
case, this was done in 2001.
Yeah, way before. When was I'm a teapot? 2006.
Yeah. Yeah, and then in this case, right, viable local carriers such as some locations in New Zealand, Singapore, Porsche carriers are only able to execute short hops. Only times it back is extremely low. Flightless and nocturnal nature of Kiwis.
Damn, that's actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
He's
Loss of ability of species such as the extinction of the passenger pigeon right there. Disease affecting the carriers, right?
Yeah, that's signal rot. You don't want that. You don't want bit rot happening.
Right. The network topology supported for multicast are limited by the homing abilities of carriers. So, pretty good.
Pretty cool.
So yeah, it's an old-fashioned troll right there. Thank you. I am a lazy fuck, so instead of typing this out by
Pip
hand
install IPv forwarding.
nah, but now we don't do that here, right? So instead,
You see, we do that here.
Man, okay, can you search AUR? No, you have to install like an AUR helper, right? Like you have to use Yay.
totally.
You know, you can't use the AUR directly on Pac-Man, right?
I have no fucking idea, man.
I'm pretty sure that you cannot. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to
gotta
use
use Yay or something.
Ah, fuck, whatever. Well then. Well, Yay install random fucking script and run it. That's the way to go. Don't read it. Reading is for pussies.
Yeah.
Well then, this is 11. I gotta go to the gym tomorrow. Oh yeah, funhouse. I forgot to tell you, bro. I'm going to the gym more often. Going swimming on Tuesdays and Thursdays. There's like actual human beings there. We have conversations, bro. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
Some wild shit.
Congratulations.
I know. I legit feel really awesome. But I'm gonna have to go now. I'm not gonna be able to wake up tomorrow. Well then, thanks for your time today, funhouse. Good stuff. Talk to you later.
Hallelujah.
Whoa.
It's fascinating. I don't think I've ever met anybody interested in programming who was not autistic.
Yeah.
It's every single one.
Every one of them, yeah.
Including you.
Thank you.
Are you autistic?
I don't,
Am I autistic?
it makes
No,
sense, though. Why would anybody waste time doing inane bullshit on a computer when they were spending time interacting with other humans?
That is true. Okay, so there we go. We got our Linux-based router right here now. Let's go install our VMware tools.
By the way, funhouse.
Yeah.
Like, do you have a lot of friends who work in the same industry as you, or like you're just like alone?
For the most part, I tend not to go for friends at work. Right there. Competitive industry.
Yeah.
Take a wild guess why.
Yeah. Competitive industry. Also, yeah.
Also, everyone is autistic and an egomaniac, including yourself.
Thank you.
Egomaniac. Well.
Yes. Did you not hear that kid? He's not even 18 yet, and he's already acting like his shit doesn't smell.
Oh. Well, I think he was just like really excited, but yeah, a little bit.
No, he was clearly probing that guy for information because that's the only reason he's talking to him, because he knows what he wants.
Well, it's because I kind of think fun is like a giga chad when it comes to this kind of stuff. Everybody just comes here like, hey, fun.
Oh no, he's very knowledgeable. I respect that, but he's also like clearly severely autistic.
Okay. Yeah. So fun. I was gonna ask you like, compared to like other people who like work in your domain, like, do you think you know more than most people, or you're just like an average?
I would say I know a lot about everything right there, but definitely not a master of absolutely everything.
Okay.
So instead of it being like where most people, they know a lot about a given subject, I know a lot about a broad character of things.
Yeah, it's because like people just ask you like hardware questions, network questions, or like software. Like you just, it seems like you always have an answer. It's kind of crazy. But
yeah. So there we go. There's our Linux router doing its thing right here.
Yeah, let's see that.
Okay, so I got it. Oh, what the fuck? Where's my... Why is this over here? Okay, there we go. Finished. Okay, restart our guests. So in this case, right, we have our system right here, right? It's got a whole bunch of virtual bridges right here, right? With 172.16.42.1, 43.1, 44, and 45.1 as the 4 local networks right here.
Okay.
It's got DHCP set up on each one of them so that your computer can get an IP address like that by being connected. It's configured on its ENS33 interface right there. for DHCP so that it can get internet access.
Wait. When you say
Right
DHCP, do you mean like an IP address in the LAN or in the WAN?
On the WAN.
Oh,
so it
shit.
requests an IP address from the internet.
Oh, sick. Okay.
Right. So as you can see right here, like I'll show you in where the network properties, right?
Mhm.
It says we have an internet connection, and hey, look, 172.16.42.32 is the one that it was given, which is the same thing as our Linux router. Right? And so, like magic.
Damn.
And so, yeah, pretty cool stuff right here. And then you could install stuff on your router, right, that you want to use. And so, for example, like we could just go CMD right here, right? And we could be like SSH, right? And we'll just log in right here. 16.42.
Oh, wait,
is
SSH
right?
In Windows now? Or is that...
It is, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so, in this case, right, there we go. We're logged into our Linux server, which is also our router for this PC.
Wow, that's cool.
Right? And so, like, we can be like, yeah, go ping 1.1. Right?
Nice.
Which is pretty dope. And I can also be like, hey, you know what? Oh, wow, if I can spell. Right? And I can be like, oh yeah, go ping one of your other network interfaces. Right? And it will. Right? Because we have those 4 LAN networks and our WAN network.
Right.
Right? And so, and then we can configure in our RP tables rule right here. Right? And then we'll just go pull this up. Right? We could even set a special NAT rule right here about how we want to deal with this. Right? So with network address trading with IP tables, we could even be like, yeah, force all of the connections over a VPN, which would be configured in the Linux side. And so this is super cool. We're not going to change anything here, but if we wanted to, we could. Or we could just be like, yeah, you know what? Let's install our own website right here, right? So we're going to go get Nginx. Oh, and I probably need to configure DNS on this computer, but fix that. Hold on.
What's Nginx, by the way?
It's a web server.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're going to change that to 1.1. So there we go. That's off doing its thing. So now we have Nginx installed. So watch this. I'm going to go type in the IP address, right, of the router, and, well, welcome to Nginx.
So what does this web server do exactly? Oh, it's just a website, okay.
It's just a web page, yeah. So we could go install, like, PHP.
Yeah.
Right? And then run, like, WordPress or any other service on there. But most importantly, we can also use Nginx as a reverse proxy. Right? By using it as a reverse proxy, we can have services like Jellyfin running, and we can make them accessible not only to the internet, but also to our local network.
You can make Jellyfin accessible to the internet?
Yeah, so for example, right, what I'll do is I'll go pull up this system's WAN IP address.
Yep.
Right? And so that is it's over here. I got the SSH console right here, so we'll just pull it up, right? IPA, right? And so, right, this is our IP.
Okay.
So I'm going to go copy that. I'm going to pull that up in my browser, right? And then we should, right, hold on. Let me tell it to accept that first, right? Sudo ufw allow http, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so now, in theory, unless my previous IP tables persistent rule didn't work, which is possible.
I'm going playing again.
Okay, have fun. Okay. Okay, hold up. Okay. Just for my entertainment, I'm gonna just go ahead and comment that out and see if it fixes our problem. And it does. Right. So there it is. This case on my browser outside of the virtual machines network.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so what this means is that we can be like, hey, UFW, right? Hold on. Sudo UFW. Right? And then we can be like, hey, right? Just enable, right? Yes. And we can go like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, it's open and active, right? And so this thing can be like, yo, google.ca, right? And everything works nicely. UFW is going to piss me off again. Hold on. We'll fix that. I'll get the UFW URLs put in right there. Right, so I'll just do that real quick. There we go. So there's there's that, right? So basically, I'll tell you why it's not working.
Okay.
Right, so it's not working because I've only allowed TCP coming in right here.
Okay.
Right, port 80, so which is Nginx, right? And so in this case, I need to tell IP tables, which is the Linux firewall and what UFW interacts with, that actually UDP port 53, right? DHCP, all these other things you're allowed to use, but only on the LAN side.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then that's the one that matters. So. Okay. We just go ahead and do this traditional trick right here, right? So sudo UFW allow in on BR 0. Oh, hold on. Sudo UFW allow. Really?
In on BR0.
They might have changed it to actually require complete invalid interface loss. What?
That's a helpful error message.
Sudo UFW allow all in on, right, bridge 0, and then from. You know what? We have a solution for this. Doesn't exist. So just use IP tape. So just uninstall it, right? But yeah, so that gives us our Nginx right here. So I'll actually show you an example. We'll go install PHP right here, and we'll get a dynamic web page that loads.
Okay.
Right, so that would be 7.4-fpm. And yeah, right. So oh cool, we got that installed now. Right, and then we'll go ahead and enable that. So we'll go sudo and /nginx sites enabled default. Right, And we're just going to go in here and we're going to say, hey, just so you know, PHP scripts right here, right, should be handled by PHP. And we want to pass it to PHP 7.4.socket. Right? And then we'll just go sudo service nginx restart. Right? So now we do sudo nano slash c or slash var slash www html, right? Info.php, and we just go like, situation walkup php, right? Let's do php info square brackets end line, and then we'll just do question close, right? And now, right, over here, right, we can go, and there's a whole bunch of stuff dynamically generated by PHP.
Okay.
Right. And so you can get this stuff to do like MySQL databases. You can run a WordPress website, so you can have your own personal web page.
Yeah.
Right.
What's the use? Because you mentioned the WordPress earlier. Like, what's the use case for having a WordPress on on your LAN? Yeah.
Have your blog, right? Another thing that I've seen people do right there is some people can run their own, like, if they make shit on their own, you can run your own little e-commerce solution on your own system at home. Right? Which is pretty dope. And so as you can see right here, it gave us the system. So Linux super server number 2 right there on Linux. Pretty badass right there. But then you can also, with some PHP scripting right here, you could actually configure it so that you could manage your firewall rules through a web UI if you wanted to create one.
Right, yeah.
Right. In this case, I don't mind the console. Right. And what I would personally do, right, is for the IP tables persistence stuff right there, right, is go look at this guy, right? So under this comment right here, right, for your filter, this is where you should accept, right, IP tables rules. So you could be like IP tables except on ENS33, your WAN IP address, right? Port 80, port 443, right? So you can talk to Nginx. Right?
Yeah.
But you could be like deny everything else, right? Which would lock your system down. And that's what this -a input, so in the input chain, right, on interface ENS33, which is our WAN interface, and we want to go ahead and drop it. Right? And so what that would do is that would allow us to use our Nginx only internally, but it would deny access to anything. So it's basically all the ports are closed.
Right.
From the internet, that is. Right? But we can actually add in things right here that we care about. Right? So we could be like, yeah, allow port 80 in, allow port 43 in, allow SSH in if we really want to. Right?
Wow.
And you can all of these things. You could be like, yeah, you know what? Open up a port for Plex. Right? Or you can be, no, they can only get to Plex via Nginx instead. And so you can use multiple web on the same system, right? And since this is still a Linux computer, right? Like I can still like close out of this sudo, app open JDK 17 JRE headless, right? And so let's just go like there. We're gonna go get a Minecraft server, right?
Okay.
Right. So we're gonna go copy this link right here. Right. We're gonna just go make a directory. MC. Right. We're just gonna go wget. So we're just gonna go download this real quick. .jar to just paper. Right, and then we're just going to go nano ula.txt eula equals true. Right, and then just java -jar paper.jar. Right. And so it's a router, and it's also a Minecraft server.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
And so, yeah, you can literally do what you want.
Yeah. I'm
Right.
just amazed like how granular these things can get. It's just like
Yeah, it's entirely up to you. Like
Yeah.
the tools are there, do what you want.
Yeah.
Like, and so if you wanted to, like that's how you can have like the ultimate home server.
Yeah.
And I kind of recommend this for the people that are like, hey, you know, I can only afford one server for at home, right?
Mhm.
And the choice is like, do I get a nice router or do I get a home server? And it's like, why not all of them? Right?
Yeah.
Because it can do it. So not everybody's aware that Linux supports doing these things, but it does.
Mhm.
And so
Mostly
now,
because it's impractical.
not impractical.
It's completely impractical. Just because you spend years of your life on this, attaining this knowledge, doesn't mean anybody else has the time or the patience to do so.
Sure, but if you're going to learn to be a systems administrator, this also teaches you a lot about the Linux systems that you're going
You're
to be
talking
interacting with.
about a home server, not, something at maybe a firm.
Sure, but typically the people who manage those home servers also do that as their day job.
What, you like working off the job?
On your own personal things, yeah, it can be very rewarding.
I mean, because you said you did it.
Sure, also the services that you can use and actually run on your own network.
Can also be a pretty good educational tool for furthering your own knowledge with more complicated projects and stuff.
For sure.
Yeah, yeah. I'm learning a lot from fun. Yeah.
You can take something that you learned at home right there from your own fucking around and then come in at work and look like a complete genius when you happen to encounter the same issue or a similar problem. Right? Or you can find out that, hey, you know what? Setting up OpenVPN isn't that difficult right there. Why do we pay so much for a VPN license through a vendor like SonicWall? When you can fire up OpenVPN and you can give yourself some good job security. Especially if you are good with OpenVPN. Or as the kids would do these days, WireGuard.
Yeah, I like WireGuard.
So both work right there, and it's like you can have both of them on the same system. Doesn't matter.
So, if I
I
had a
still
question,
don't see the practicality of it, aside from it can be applied to your job.
Yeah.
That's
Or you
pretty
can-
much it. Nobody really needs a home server unless you are, hiding something, typically.
Not really. What would you consider hiding?
I mean, I've been interested in computers most of my life, and I've never found a practical need for a home server. It's just, especially if you're a single guy living alone. Like, what do you need that space for? You know?
You see, I don't actually live alone, so I have lots of people that stream media throughout the house, and I'd prefer that my internet connection isn't wasted by those streams.
Wait, are you telling me you actually have a wife?
Yeah, and a kid.
And a kid. Wow, you might be one of the 1% of programmers who aren't autistic. Never mind. My assumption might have been proven wrong.
So.
I mean, typically people get interested in code because they can't socialize, but it sounds like you haven't had that problem.
No, not particularly. That's why I like teaching people about it, because there are many useful things that you can do with it, should you know how to master the tools.
Well, useful if you have to deal with people, I guess. If you're just living on your own, it doesn't really serve any purpose. Right. Aside from, again, like you were saying, like something to flex at your job to maybe get a raise.
Yep.
I mean, a practical purpose.
Well, and for education too.
Yeah. I mean, even if you're alone,
I mean,
just sharing your files between all your computers, that's pretty practical. If you have like a media server.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who needs like multiple computers?
I do. Like your phone,
for what?
Your laptop, your desktop.
Yeah. Or even then, just sharing files that you have. Like, sure, not everybody needs a home server right there, but it is pretty cool when a buddy of mine's like, hey, I need somewhere safe to keep my crap right here. And I'd be like, yeah, you can have a terabyte on my server.
Yeah.
And it's no big deal.
Yeah, I don't typically want to be involved with people's data that I'm not actively looking through to make sure there's nothing suspicious in it.
When it comes to that kind of stuff for data, man, you're not liable for anything that's not yours.
You are liable for hosting it.
you're not.
I mean, if you're acting as a service provider, you're protected under Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act.
Also,
Do
you
really
have safe
think a
harbor.
court who does not give a shit about that is going to really give a shit about that?
Yeah, it's federal law, and in the cases of illegal content, say for example child pornography or torrent content or whatever, right? You as the provider are protected because those are federal crimes, and this is a federal law indemnifying you from liability. Right. So as long as you know who had access to that right there, as well as provide reasonable amounts of information that your system collects about it, you are protected. This is why your ISP isn't responsible for what you download, even though your IP address is part of their network.
Cool.
So,
I mean, I guess if you can classify you giving your buddy space to store shit as a service, I don't.
Yeah, money doesn't have to
I would
change
assume
hands for
he would have
computers.
to pay you in order for that to classify as a service.
No, it doesn't have to.
You know, you're not
also
required to make a financial transaction for that.
Yeah. For example, you can use a whole bunch of different websites all the time right there. They don't accept money from you, but it's still considered a service.
What a bunch of technical bullshit.
Well, the law's technical.
I got a resume question for all my tech peeps. All right, say you work on like bugs on front end and like back end for whatever you got going on, right? What would be the best way to phrase that, like a resume? The very best way, you know what I'm saying? Because like
describe it as technical deficiencies. So,
sorry, what?
Describe, instead of it being a bug, call it a technical deficiency.
Yeah, bug sounds pretty unprofessional. So,
yeah.
I mean,
people who work in tech are unprofessional.
Everybody's unprofessional.
Particularly tech. I mean, it's like I said, most of the people who work in the field are not very good at socializing, especially back end. But
especially back. Funny.
Oh yeah, so fun. I had
Am
a
I wrong?
question. So remember that Helix terminal we were talking about, and we can turn it into a bridge mode. Okay, that Helix terminal, it still has.
I remember that.
Yeah, it still has like a like the ISP still has to go through it to verify that that terminal belongs to the ISP, right, or something. But it's not making.
Yeah. So in this case.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what it does is it provides you a bridge interface so that you can send your DHCP requests off to your ISP to get an IP address.
Mm-hmm.
It will handle all of the authentication, and it just presents an Ethernet-like connection to your device.
Gotcha. Yeah, okay.
Even though under the hood, that's not what's really happening.
Yeah, because like you were telling that other guy earlier, and that was like, anyways, yeah, cool, gotcha.
Yeah. So lots of different technologies in the last mile and how it can get to you. It just needs to provide something that your device can understand what to do with.
Mm. Cool.
So like, for example, right now, right, this, conversation is being carried over L3, right, on LTE, right, which have a whole bunch of different carriers underneath to get it out to the public internet.
Yeah.
And so even though it's not Ethernet, it's eventually getting converted back towards an Ethernet frame because that's what AWS uses internally. Which in turn Discord has to use. It's pretty cool stuff.
It seems pretty impractical to me, just in general. I'm a very pragmatic man. When you stuff all this knowledge inside your head, I can't believe that you're actually actively using half of it, if
You're
that.
pregnant?
What?
You said you're a very pregnant man.
No, pragmatic, you dingus.
Cool.
Oh.
I mean, yes, Discord is transferring our voices over whatever the fuck you just said, and then translate it back into what, an Ethernet format or something. That's fantastic and all. Is that ever going to serve you any purpose in the future?
It's magic.
Right. In this case right here, I happen to do government consulting for very specialist information like that, so yes.
Yeah, it's like, this guy does this for a living. You just sound bitter, Regis.
It's something about the anime profile picture, I think.
Okay.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah. The notion that somebody can have grown, acquired this much knowledge, fucked a woman, had a kid, and is still enamored with Japanese culture of cutesy, like, shonen shit baffles me.
Who are we talking about?
I think he's talking about my Hatsune Miku profile picture. So,
No, it's kind of cool, bro.
Yeah, when my router gets EOL'd, I was thinking of like doing OpenWRT or something like that, but maybe I will just DIY it. Because I run Linux just on my main box anyway.
yeah, you should be pretty good to go right there. If you're running any mainline Linux right there, or even like long-term support, you're gonna get a long time. You can upgrade your OS version after that, and then get even more support for your router. And so, if you go for like what Ubuntu has for like live patch,
yeah,
or whatnot, you can keep doing that without even taking the network offline, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that I think that you can get live patching for a number of distros pretty cheap too. I think it's like $5 a month. Like even if like you don't use like, because I know they have like, what is it? You get 3 free with Canonical with their live patching service.
So, yeah, then you could do that, right? Personally, I use VRRP, right? Virtual Router Redundancy Protocol.
VRRP.
And then you can have your primary and secondary router if it's a bigger network. And then you can take your first one down for maintenance right there, install your new kernel patch, wait for it to come back up, and then it'll switch back over, right? Well, the slave takes over during that time, and then vice versa. You can also use stuff like carp as well to go ahead and proxy like the status for all your like NAT state tables between them. Plus, you'll be an IP tables ninja by the end.
Yeah, that sounds good. I need to learn a lot more about IP tables.
Yeah, so, and especially since like IP tables for most like embedded Linux routers is the actual framework that provides the router's service. Same with DNS mask, which I was using in my little demo right there. We basically built an embedded router without a web UI. And so that's what OpenWRT runs under the hood. So IP tables is providing the network address translating, is providing all the goodies there, and DNS mask is providing the DNS and DHCP. And so, yeah, nice and simple, not too complicated. Then you can have some really cool configurations right there. You can get some pretty weird configurations because let's say you have like a special type of connection, you want to use LTE or anything like that. You can bake in support for anything, like any networking standard that Linux supports. Which is pretty dope, but outside of like a very exotic setup, you're probably just going to use Ethernet.
Oh yeah, fun. This is gonna sound like a really noob question, but is there anything special about a Chromebook, or is it just a machine with Chrome OS?
It's literally just a low-power laptop running Chrome OS.
Okay, right. So I could like turn a laptop into a Chromebook if I wanted to.
You technically can. There's an operating system called Cloud Ready that does that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want it just to run Chrome, buy a Chromebook. It'll cost about the same amount of money, and they are optimized for it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and I think some of like the projects where you can essentially run Chrome OS on, just disparate old machinery, like you might not necessarily get like Play Store authenticated on that device. Like it'll run the actual Chrome OS, but.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't plan on doing that anyways, but I was just wondering, like, because Chromebooks are pretty cheap. I was wondering, like, is there something special about these, or can I just buy a cheap laptop and it'll, like, do the same thing? Yeah.
They're effectively subsidized by the fact that they're the ultimate data collection device for Google.
Well, I would say that like anything special, maybe something special about it would be like, they may have like things for signed boot and various trust attestation things for like network safety checks.
Yeah.
So like if you just install like if you like just created Chrome OS on a old laptop, like a banking app might not run, like it'll reject to run or something.
Okay. You said there's
safety net?
Yeah.
Yeah. Chromebooks are sold at basically no profit.
Okay. That's why.
So that's subsidized by the fact that Google is willing to pay the difference because it's forcing you to use Chrome.
Yeah.
And that supports their ad businesses.
Well, technically, if I buy a Chromebook, so that's basically I'm buying at cost, could I install Linux on it and just fuck Chrome OS?
There are ways
Depends
of
on the
doing that
Chromebook.
right there. Depends on the computer, yeah.
The newer because I know like what is it for instance like the Pixel book, which is like I think like it's like a higher end Chromebook. They have tamper resistant hardware on there, so you have to actually like open it up and fuck with it to like install a different OS. But I'm sure like if there was like a modding community, like you probably could. But honestly, if you were gonna install Linux on it anyway, like you just as well just get like a generic laptop.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Go get yourself an older ThinkPad, or like even get yourself like a pretty new ThinkPad right there. It'll be a better computer in every way, and support it out the gate, because Chromebooks, for example, they use a specialized firmware that helps them boot right there. That's completely different than x86's BIOS or EFI instruction set. And so you got to deal with like all these things at the same time. You have to flash a special EFI, in this case core boot, to the Chromebook, and then get a different operating system on the eFMC, all while fighting with it.
Yeah, let's get a ThinkPad. Fuck that. Well, actually, like, are ThinkPads like the equivalent of Optiplexes? Like,
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Is that why you recommend?
Can't you get? Yeah. ThinkPad is Lenovo, right? And like I thought
now it is.
I thought that because like Lenovo, they have like officially supported Linux laptops, I think.
Yes.
No. Also, the ThinkPad is super popular, and so it's also supported by basically every distro ever. Like even Core Boot, like the replacement for the BIOS or UEFI, supports the actual ThinkPad computers, which is pretty unique. Since the list of systems are pretty shallow.
Do you know if like ThinkPads just flood the market like Optiplexes on Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah, most of the same thing with like the HP Elite books as well. Right. Basically, just find the most popular enterprise laptops right there and search for them on eBay. You'll find them.
Okay.
Unlike the desktops, the laptops cost a bit more because laptops are still more desirable than desktops, which means that there's some higher prices on them.
Right. But I guess like normal users,
But not
they
too
want
crazy.
MacBooks. They don't really want ThinkPads, right? I don't know.
Wait, what are you talking about? Are you talking about buying and selling on eBay?
Talking about wiring some cheap computers right here, and I'm telling them that ThinkPad is going to cost more than a Optiplex.
For sure.
Because it's a desktop and the laptops are more desirable.
Yeah.
Wait, what? I don't understand this. You just talking about buying computers?
Yeah.
Why? Just go to Best Buy.
Okay.
And we can save money.
These three aren't interested in practicality. They're just espousing knowledge towards each other, seeing it's like a knowledge dick measuring contest.
Wrong. Saving money is very practical.
No, it's not.
Saving money? If you work in the private sector like this cunt does, you make enough money to buy a mansion, essentially, if you save enough over
Yeah,
years.
man. Yeah, let's talk about money again. I came in here because Fun is in here. He knows a lot about money. It doesn't make sense to save money.
There's an economic disconnect between this guy and you two by a magnitude of several.
Who?
Yep, I used to be broke too, and part of it right there is that you can make a business out of this if you understand how they work.
Yeah, but
People
you
want
understand
turnkey
money.
solutions. If you can make the solution, then there's lots of money there.
True.
Yeah, you understand the monies.
You mean how your solution was like working for the private sector?
Well, I work for myself, for the public sector, ironically.
You're a consul. You're a consul for the private sector. You're self-employed only in name.
Sure.
And if it's not sure, that's the truth.
Wait, I thought you worked for the public. I thought you worked for the government.
I do. I do government consulting, but that technically makes me self-employed. But he was saying only in name, which I said is technically true.
So do you work for private?
I work for myself, which makes me private, right? But I am contracted by the government, which makes me pseudo-private.
Oh, so basically you're still on the taxpayer dough.
Yeah.
But that makes you a public employee.
By extension, yes, but technically
basically,
private.
If the government do a shutdown again, then you won't have a job.
Oh, I still get paid.
Why?
Why? Because I have a renewing year-over-year term, so I get paid up front.
Oh, but what if the next time when the term comes to an end and the government's in shutdown mode, are you still going to get paid then?
Well, then I won't be getting paid, but presumably, right, when I get my contracts renewed, right, I deliberately go out of my way to make sure that they're not scheduled any time where that might get a hold up.
Oh, okay, that's good. So, like, you can always
reaches maturity after the budgets are set.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means, though.
So, every year, right, when the government argues about the budget,
yeah,
right, and where the shutdown can happen, right, that's when they're arguing about the budgets. But the contract reaches maturity and would be renewed outside of this period, which means that it's already been settled.
Oh, okay, I see.
Right? Which means that they could go, hey, we're not going to renew the contract, right? But that's pretty unlikely.
Hey, are you a practitioner of MMT?
MMT?
Yeah.
Not familiar with the acronym.
I'm a practitioner of CBT.
Can you shut the fuck up? I'm trying to understand money.
Oh, fuck what you think.
Oh, modern monetary
You don't shut the
theory?
fuck up.
Oh, yeah. If you're meaning that, then yes. It's quite effective, right?
Wait, what's effective? The monies
Modern
or the
monetary
computer?
theory?
Oh, the
modern
MMT.
monetary theory is very effective.
Yeah, I was asking you if you sound like a practitioner of it. I don't know if you are.
Yeah, I think it's a very effective system right there. It's just very shitty on the way that it's been going.
Wait, does the U.S. practice MMT?
No.
Yes.
Is it just like not widely known among the people?
For the people, yeah, I think most people assume that there's a set amount of money out there, and not the fact that there's, expanding and extracting the amounts of money as required.
So, like, I don't understand how the money system goes together with capitalism, or I don't even understand how does that tie in with production. Because presumably, right, we live in a capitalism system in which production is linked with the monetary system. Now, the government can influence the monetary system directly. If you as you mentioned, is under an MMT system. But eventually that would affect real world production, right? Wouldn't it?
It does. And so when you hear about booms and busts right there, right? Capitalism goes through booms and then busts, right? Great growth right there, but it turns out the growth is immaterial, it's not real, right? Then there's a bust, right? Modern monetary theory helps prevent the bust, right? The problem with it is that it literally just kicks that can down the road a bit further. And so 2008 economic little problem, I guess you can say, came to an end because the government bailed them out, right? Removing the uncertainty that was causing a credit freeze that was beginning to paralyze the economy, right? If the government didn't intervene, this would have collapsed the economy.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So
Supreme Leader, I need some rice, man. I'm really starving out here. Okay.
I really want to kill people today. Like, really want to kill people.
Wait,
anyways,
what?
let's talk about
Whoa,
MMT.
no, whoa, no. What did you just say?
How about you shut the fuck up and listen? How about that?
I heard you. I heard you correctly. I want to make sure
Okay,
that I wasn't
then shut the fuck up. Don't trigger me.
Why do you
alright?
want to kill people?
Oh, the
Why?
bullshittery has begun.
Why do you want to kill people?
Because people like